to my channel. So today I'll be showing you guys this pencil skirt that has a ruffle in front. Like, it's two different, you can use two different patterns of fabric to make it, and then you put a pleat in between, but the back is just plain. The back doesn't have any pleat, it's just the front. So you see the picture on the thumbnail. So let's start. So the first thing you're going to do is to fold your fabric into two, right? After folding my fabric, so the width you're going to use here is about your hip measurement divided by 4, then plus your seam allowance, maybe 1 inch or 1.5, right? So the length I'm going to be using for this skirt is going to be 20. That's including the band, because I want it to be a short skirt. So what you're going to front panel, because normally when making skirts you draw the front panel, you start with the front panel and then you cut the back panel, right? But for this skirt you're going to cut your front panel on. So you're going to draw it out first as a pattern. I'm not going to be cutting it out, but I'm just going to show you guys how you're going to draw your normal skirt pattern, right? So basically you put in your waist measurement. So my waist is 32, then plus divided by 4, that's going to be 8. Then you're going to add 2 inches because it's the waist, right? And then you're going to mark your hip to waist to hip. So the waist to hip on this here is supposed to be 10, but remember I'm still going to put in 2 inches of band here, so that means I'm going to have 8 here, right? So if I put it this way and mark my 10, because my band is still going to come in here, my waist to hip measurement is 10, but remember my 2 inches of band will come in here, so I'm just going to mark the 10 here, which means what I'll have if I measure it again is 8. And then at the end here, you're just going to, that measurement you have here for me, which is 11, coming down here, I'm going to just subtract 1 inch from it, right? And then I'm going to just connect it. Come down 1 inch this way, right? You're going to come down 1 inch this way, and then you're going to just blend it in. One inch straight here, and then blend it in. From here, you connect your waist to hip, right? And then the next thing you're going to do is to put in your dart. So I'm going to use my breast point measurement, which is 8 divided by 2, that's 4. Mark it here, and then you're going to mark half an inch on each side, and then your dart is going to stop about 2 inches before your hip, so which is somewhere here. So which means my dart is going to be 8 inches of length. Sorry, let me just put this line straight down, and then connect your darts halfway each on each side. So this is it here. This is basically your front pattern. You're going to cut it out, but remember, like I said, you're going to draw this pattern on a plain sheet, right? You're not going to draw it directly on your fabric, because remember you're still going to cut it into 2. So there's no need of drawing it here. You need to, because the pleat is going to come in between the skirt, so you have to draw it on a plain sheet, right? So that when you're done, you have your pattern on the paper, and then you go and use the pattern to trace out on your fabric. So I'm going to just act like this is the pattern I'm working with, right? This is the block of fabric I'm working with. Let's say this is it here. I'm going to mark out my waist and everything on this paper here. So guys, I've drawn this out now. I'm going to just cut it out, right? So now you're going to go ahead. I'm just trying to, because I'm not making it to wear, right? I'm just making a miniature version, just so to show you guys, to demonstrate the whole process of making the skirt. So you see, this is supposed to be a big sheet pattern here, just like something that can contain your whole measurement. This doesn't contain anybody's measurement. So guys, you see, I'm just going to go ahead and cut it out. Remember, this is my dart, this is my waist, this is my waist to hip. Like you see, all the measurements I have here is exactly what I have on this pattern here. So from here, you're going to go ahead and cut this part out all the way to the top, right? So we've cut it out. This is the skirt, this is the waist part, and then on this waist part here, you're supposed to, like normal, you're going to come down here half an inch so that it will help your skirt balance well. So you're going to mark half an inch here and blend it up here. So I'm going to also do the same. Cut out everything. You're also going to cut out this half an inch that you came down with. Cut it out, and then you have your pattern like this. You take it, and then you're going to fold your fabric again. This time around, your fabric, you're going to cut the back of the skirt, right? But remember, for the back of your skirt, you're going to have extra like 1 inch at the center. So guys, like I said, you're going to use the front panel. So now take your front panel, cut out the back panel. But for the back panel, you're going to have about 1 inch at the center, which is going to be your zip allowance, right? So I'm just going to cut it open. You can use 1.5 or 1 inch, anyone you want. So now you're going to, the same side, you're going to just cut out the same side. This is the back panel we are cutting, right? At this point, our front panel is still a sheet of paper, is not yet cut out in a fabric. We're just trying to use this here to mark out the back panel before we go to cut the front panel. So at this point, you're going to notch your darts using this same front panel. I'm going to notch it to know where my darts falls in here. So you see my back of my skirt is done. You can also go ahead and shape out from this back here so that the skirt will be pens just right on your butt. So you can go ahead and mark about like 1 inch half an inch from this part here, and then you're going to blend it in. So let's say your zip is going to stop here right on your hip line, right? Your zip is stopping at your hip line, so maybe 1 inch before your hip. So that's where you're going to just blend this in here this way. Just blend it in this way, place it this way. It will help the skirt to just flap on your butt. Sorry, just mark it this way coming in, you see, and then cut it out. So this is basically the back of the skirt right here. I'm going to take this here, keep it aside, and then now you can open up your skirt, the front pattern, and cut it open, like cut it into two. So the way it is now, it's left for you to decide. You see, this is my front pattern here. It's left for you to decide which way you want your skirt to run. So let's say I want my skirt I want it this way, this from this side to this side, or you want it from this side to this side. It depends on you. So this is still your hip line. So let me extend this line. So this is still your hip line here, and then this is your dart still coming down this way, right? This is the dart still coming down on this line here. So your dart is still here. The same dart that you transferred is still on this side. So what you're going to do is just to connect from this end, maybe come down 1 inch from your hip line, and then you're going to mark it this way, right? You're going to just cut it halfway through. So maybe 1 inch from your hip line, and then maybe like 5 inches before the end of your skirt, right? Or 6 inches before the end of your skirt, and then you're going to just cut it open. Follow that line and cut it open. Now using this pattern, you know that this is the bottom of your skirt, this is the top part of your skirt. You're going to take this now, open up your fabric and place it this way. So now you know you're going to use the same color. Like let's say you're trying to use 2 different colors. The one from your, so because this is the back of my skirt, so I'm going to use the same color for the front of my skirt, right? Let me say it again. So the color that I'm going to use at the beginning of my skirt, because this is your front pattern, this is the top part of your front pattern, is going to be the color of the back of my skirt. So that's why I'm using this same here. But the bottom here, which is this one here, I'm going to change the color, and I'm also going to use the same color I use for this part is what I'm going to use for that pleat that will run in between. I will insert the picture at this point so you guys can see. So the color from this one here, the bottom of my skirt, is going to be the same as your pleat. You can do it the other way around. Just work with whatever you feel is okay. So at this point now, you put this here, and then you're going to mark out your skirt, right? Mark out everything. You can pin it down, and then remember to give it half an inch to join it. That's basically the reason why you split it open, so that you can leave half an inch of seam allowance that will run through all the way to the end, right? You see, my pattern stops here, but I'm leaving half an inch of seam allowance all the way to the end here, just so that when I go to join this one too, okay, I'll just cut it out first. So you see, leaving that half an inch, cut this out here. I already know. Just use your pin to hold it down so you don't confuse yourself. So you see, you see the way it is now. This is still how it's supposed to look. So I'm going to just hold it now and cut out the sides. Guys, I'm just hoping that this doesn't confuse you, right? Remember, you already have the seam allowance for the side, so there's no need of leaving any seam allowance on the side. The only seam allowance you're going to add is just at the bottom here with your pattern. So now what you're going to do is get the color that you want to use for the bottom. So I'm just going to use a totally different color so that you guys will see. Like, I'm not going to use any color that makes sense. So let me see. I'm going to use this one so that it's like totally different from the main fabric. So you see, this is what I'll use for the bottom of this skirt here. I'll use this for the bottom. So I'm just going to take this here, face it right side facing this one, and then put it down and pin it and cut out this pattern. This time again, I'm going to leave the same 1 inch at this top part here. Just don't forget your 1 inch, you're going to not 1 inch, sorry, half an inch. So don't forget to always keep that half an inch here, you see. But coming to the side, you close it up. So this is what I'm going to cut out now. If I pin this down, I'll cut out this half an inch here, go down here and just cut exactly the same. So guys, you see now we have half an inch on this top part, half an inch at the bottom part. So when you go to sew, you're just going to hold it this way, push it back, and then join it. So after joining it, now you have back the same, your skirt is back together, you see. That's why I said leave half an inch in between, so that when you join it, you're back to your normal skirt. But before then, you're going to, so like I said before, work with whatever color you feel like you want to use. So for me now, I'm going to use this same bottom color. I'm going to use it for my pleat. So to get your pleat, it depends on the length you want your pleat to be. You can make it 4 inches pleat, you can make it a longer pleat, you can use a flounce. I'll attach a tutorial that I made already on how to make the flounce. Just make sure that whatever you're using, you will use ×2 of this. Just take your tape, measure this from this point here. You can use, if you want a lot of gather or just normal gather, use ×2 of it. So let's say you have, when you finish, like for me now, I got 9 inches here. So I'm going to make sure that my flail I'm using is ×2 of this 9. So I'm going to use, that is 18, right? Or you can use ×2.5, or just enough that so that when you pleat, it fits in here. Or when you cut your flounce, it fits in here. So I'm just going to use this here. So I'm going to make use on normal adults. Let's say I'm cutting this on an adult. I might use, if I want to pleat it like this picture that I'm going to put in here now, I'll use maybe 5 inches or 4 inches. It depends. But because this is just a smaller size that I'm making here, I'm just going to cut 2 inches. But you know that I've just told you, if I'm making it on a bigger person, I'm going to use like 4 inches or 5 inches. So it's left for you to decide what you want to work with. So I'm just going to cut my small piece of fabric here that I'm using. And then when you're cutting, remember to add 1 inch of folding the end, right? Remember, you still need 1 inch to fold the end, and then half an inch to join the top part into this place. So whatever length you decide to work with, remember to add 1.5 to it. 1 inch is for the rough end here to make it neat, and then half an inch is to join into this half an inch that is going to pass into the skirt. So now I'm going to go ahead and pleat this. So guys, you see now I'm pleating my skirt. So you see it's plain this way. So I'm going to just keep folding it. Fold one, and then this way, just like normal pleating. You pleat one, you pick it up again, you pleat again. You just keep on picking it up and pleating. If it's pleating that you want to use, or if you want to use flounce, just check the link. You'll see the video to how to make the flounce. You see, just pick it up this way and fold it. So this is my pleat here. You see, this is the pleat. If I leave it now, it will open up. So you're going to pin it down. So I'm going to pleat it and put it inside of this here. So guys, you can see I've added the pleat part here. I've sewn it close. So you see my stitches in here. So just go ahead and iron it flat. So you see what it looks like. So now what I'm going to do is to go, and I also cut out that half an inch at this top part here. I'm going to take the one side of the back, putting my dart here, about 6 inches dart length, and then put this on this side. You see, it still came out to be the same length on the side, you see. So you take the other side, the same thing, put in your dart. You see where I notched it, and then put in the other side. And then you see, make sure that the end of, because you know the end will be rough, so it will come out at this end here. The end of the rough is what I'm talking about. So you just close up the side, close up the side. So at this point, I'm going to just go ahead and close up the two sides, put in my dart. And then you also close up halfway through. You already know where your zip will start. And then we'll come back and put the band. So guys, as you can see, I've closed up the side. You might want to bring yours up a little bit if you want, like make it move this way. Maybe go directly from your hip. It depends on you. So you see mine, how it is. It goes into the side. The stitch goes into the side on, you see it here. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to put in my band. So just to put in the band, all you have to do is to fold. I've already cut out what I'm using. Remember, like we said before, your band is like 2 inches, right? So but this is not 2 inches for the, so if you're using 2 inches band, what you're going to cut is 5 inches, so that, let's say this is 5 inches now, when you close it up, you're going to have 2.5 on this side, 2.5 on this side. You go ahead, iron in your stay, and then you fold in 1/2 inch on each of them, and then fold it again. All you have to do is to make sure that you measure your waist and it's exactly what it needs to be. You don't have to take it in anymore. Measure your hip is exactly what it has to be. Like, measure it this way, and it's exactly what you need. You measure the waist, the hip, and then when you're sure that everything is okay, you go ahead and just pin down 1/2 inch in. Start from one side of the zipper and just sandwich this in between. So you're going to take the band here, put it inside here, and sew it down with 1/2 inch all the way round to the other end, you see. And then when you're done, come to the back here, and then you're going to put in your zip. You see, I stopped before the hip because I know my zip is going to fit in here. So when you're done putting in your band, you also put in your zip, and that's basically it. Fold the end of your skirt, and that is it. So guys, I've gone ahead and added my band, so it's just to fold the end of the skirt, and that's basically it. You see, this is done here. See the back, so you're going to put in your zip, and that is it. So thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Bye.